RJ's brother. He's the best man.
Good evening, everyone. I thought my speech was long, but that kind of took a while, so I think I'm okay. So again, welcome and thank you for coming. First off, I'd like to thank the Holbrook family for hosting this incredible wedding reception, as well as the staff helping out. So let's give a hand to them. I'd also like to thank my parents for hosting the rehearsal dinner last night, and because they probably want me to mention them in my speech. And lastly, of course, I'd like to thank RJ and Jessica for inviting us here today to celebrate their wedding with them. Okay, so I met the groom on May 10, 1996. Many of you know him as RJ, Ronell Joseph, or even Ro Nasty. But I have the privilege of calling him Kuya, which means older brother in Filipino. My name is JR, believe it or not. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm the little brother and today his best man. I'm here tonight to talk to you about how it was growing up with RJ, and if I can, to embarrass him. So RJ is 6 years older than me, so naturally he was my role model growing up. I followed him everywhere and tried to copy what he was doing. For that, I attribute to him my fondness of art, video games, movies, and eating rice. But as we grew, it was hard to follow the footsteps of an older and arguably more successful brother. He was always stronger than me, was naturally better at school, he was even better at gaining weight. I tried my hardest to keep up with him, and he helped me along the way by pushing me to be my best. But being an older brother couldn't have been easy for him. Aside from me and my sister, who is over there, the second one from the end, aside from us being annoying, he had to deal with growing up first and experiencing new things in life before we did. For example, RJ was the first of us to go through high school, which must have been difficult for him since he was venturing into unexplored territory and didn't know what to expect. His grades proved it to be a challenge, but he somehow pulled through. Since he went through school first, he was able to give me and my sister a lot of generic advice, like study hard and don't procrastinate. In actuality, I learned most from watching him make mistakes. For instance, from his mistakes growing up, I was able to avoid some truly terrible haircuts. As you can see, that lesson is still relevant now. Even though I look up to RJ and learned a lot from him, we didn't always get along. A lot of our childhood was spent playing video games together. And when we were young, we were really competitive. Something you should know about RJ is that he's a really sore loser. If I beat him in video games, he'd throw childlike tantrums and then kick me out of his room. I learned to cope with this by letting him win once in a while. On the flip side, he's also a really sore winner. On multiple occasions, he would hold me prisoner in his room until I could beat him. I dealt with this by telling my dad that he was bullying me. To be honest, he was kind of a difficult teenager all throughout high school. He'd have mood swings and a really bad attitude. But all that changed when he graduated and left for college. Before his freshman year at Michigan State University, RJ attended a program called the Engineering and Science Summer Academy. He was gone for the majority of the summer, and since this was his first time away from home, we missed him a lot. We were really excited when he returned after the program finished. However, something was different. To our surprise, he came back a lot nicer. What I didn't know at the time is that this is when he met Jessica. And over the course of a few weeks, she had already improved his personality tenfold. Eventually, I met you, Jess. And as I got to know you, I started learning just how amazing you are and how good you've been for RJ. When I was in high school, and the topic of relationships came up between me and my friends, I would always talk about you and my brother. This might sound weird, but I would kind of brag about you and how cool you were. For example, you enjoyed the same movies as he did, You cooked new foods with him. You did his silly exercise programs. You basically did his homework. And you even studied abroad together. You chose to study in the Philippines of all places. And for 6 whole months. That means you've somehow managed to put up with RJ for 6 months straight. And to top it off, you've tried nearly all of our weird Filipino foods and have survived. So thank you, Jess, for always being there for him. RJ told me a few months ago that he has one regret about meeting you so early in college. He said that he spent so much time with you that he didn't have time to make many other friends. Considering how much you've done for him, though, that seems like a fair trade to me. I'm so glad that my brother found you, and I couldn't be happier that you're part of the Eisman family. This might get confusing, though, because now I have 2 sisters named Jessica Eisman. So I apologize to any confusing texts. On a different note, a few weeks ago, my parents called me while I was staying at my dorm for the summer. They told me they had a problem with the printer back at home. For those of you who don't know my parents, they are terrible with technology. This time, they couldn't figure out how to print the invitation cards for the rehearsal dinner. I left campus, went home, and printed them out for them easily. Mommy was so grateful that I was able to come home whenever she needed me. Of course, she started to get emotional. She told me that day not to get married as early as you did, Kuya. Because, apparently, since you're married now, you no longer have freedom. And that is true to an extent. You're about to start a new life with Jessica and have adventures of your own, which means you won't be able to visit us as often. But I see how much you love her and how happy Jessica makes you, so I couldn't be more glad. As a younger brother, I've never actually said this before, but I'm really proud of you, Kuya. This didn't happen when I was practicing. You've always been my role model in school, athletics, drawing, video games, everything. And now you've set the bar really high for love. Without you in my life, I'd be far less confident in the things I do, and much less motivated to succeed. But I'd definitely be fatter since you always ate my food. I would be lying to myself if I said I wasn't worried about how our friendship will change after today. I know that we might not see each other as much or hang out as often, but I also know for a fact that we'll be brothers until the end of time. So Jess, I'm going to let you keep my Kuya, as long as you take good care of him and feed him. And if I know my brother at all, I know he'll love you unconditionally, forever and always.
Amen.
So I'd like to ask you all to raise your glasses for a toast. Everyone ready?
One at the table. If you'd like.
Raise your glasses high so I can see it like that. I wish you two nothing but the best, and I pray for God's blessing as you start your new life together. To RJ and Jessica. Love you guys.